Another episode of Side Chick Chronicles. All right. She's talking about what my ex did and I stayed. So, usually, when you're dealing with a woman like this, you're dealing with a woman that stayed with a broke Chad, right? So, physically, he was there, or, physically downstairs, if you know what I mean. He was that. Or two things could be true. Two things could be true. So when you hear women talking about I was already trying to build a man up and it didn't work, that means she was dealing with a Pookie, a broke Chad. Yeah, like literally a Pookie, a broke Chad, or she was a side chick and she's leaving that part out that she was a side chick, and it could have been a side chick to a broke Pookie or a Chad, and they let these people get away with murder. I'm talking about murder, and then meanwhile you'll be like a regular dude on a date with her, and then you'll be like, and you'll say something, just something. You'll hiccup wrong. You'll hiccup wrong. Hiccup one too many times, and she'll be like, "I'm out." And then meanwhile, she'll let a broke. I'm talking about a broke Chad. She'll let broke Chad or a Pookie literally do WWE moves on her, and she will not leave. Anyway, let's listen to this so-called victim here.
Things my exes did, but I still stayed. He said, don't get me wrong, you're cute, but you would be so much more attractive if you lost weight. So I lost 50 pounds, and he said, well, maybe if you lose like 20 more, then you'll be perfect. In private, he would say that we're a couple, but in public, he would just call me his buddy. Wouldn't kiss me, wouldn't hold my hand around his friends. And when I would tell him that it bothered me, he would say stuff like this is the reason why we're not actually dating. At one point, we were long distance, and he didn't have a car, so I had to drive to see him. He complained that I put in too much effort to come see him, but if it was a weekend he wanted me to come, he would beg me to drive up. He'd randomly say things like, well, if we're still together in the future and you get pregnant, how will you avoid gaining weight? He wanted to take a break to work on himself. We got back together a few weeks later, and I found out he wanted to take the break to sleep with a girl he had a crush on. One time we were just talking, and he told me point blank that if I exceeded a certain weight, he would break up with me on the spot. We would take pictures. He would tell me that I would laugh or smile too hard and that it was embarrassing. He moved. I drove in to visit, and he told his new friends that a high school friend was visiting him for the weekend. Things my exes did, but I still stayed. He said, don't get me wrong, you're cute, but
so I'm looking at these things and I'm like, she stayed through all of that, right? But it doesn't even seem like y'all were actually together. So I don't know what she's talking about. Oh, I still stayed. It doesn't look like you guys were together. But like I said, when you're dealing with hoe ass niggas, right? And simp ass ninjas in the comment section, you're dealing with people you cannot save. You're gonna see all the comments in there full of simps. Talking about what's homie's address. I just want to talk to him. Somebody said, holy moly, you were 50 pounds heavier than you are now. Now that's funny. He said, girl, why did you even stay with him? Like I said, there's only two reasons. He was a Chad, but like I said, he was a broke Chad, a Pookie, or she was a side chick. Or two things could be true. And the third reason, he was pounding her out because she's saying that she was driving all the way up to see him. So when you see stuff like that, I'm like, oh, that explains everything I need to know. She was getting pounded out raw. But I'm looking at her. So I'm like, he was talking about losing the weight. So it couldn't have been a ninja because he kept telling her to lose weight. So it couldn't have been a ninja. It was because ninjas have zero standards when it comes to these people. Anyways. Somebody said, girl, why did you even stay with him? We already know why. People talk about, dick. Like I said, being dickmatized is a real thing. Trust me. A lot of women will not admit to this, but they can get dickmatized. Same way that man will stay with a toxic woman because she has good pussy or because she gives good head. She got a nice arch. So like I said, because if he's able to say that to her, and then it'll be like I said, you heard the stuff that she said that he said to her. Now, men know if you fuck up even a little bit in a DM and you the average guy and you say like you get one part of your game wrong, one part you fuck up. Oh, I'm out. I can't do this. It's literally like you gotta be playing. It's literally you gotta be batting 1,000 when you're dealing with a broad that night or that day if you want to get what you want. And it's literally like you're walking on eggshells. So if he's able to say that to her, that means he was a Chad. Or she was dickmatized by the homie. That's really what it is, because there's no way you can't. So somebody said, where's this man at? No, first of all, don't even do that. You're gonna get yourself killed. Somebody said a whole red carpet, but like I said, I don't I don't blame the man here in this scenario because it looks like I'm looking at the caption, I'm looking at the story. It doesn't even seem like they were together. It was pretty clear where he's like, you got to lose weight if you want to stay with me. And which is, there's nothing wrong with him saying that. And I think that was basically the main point. Like, you'd be like, look, I like fucking you. That's really like his standpoint. I can tell that's what it was. He probably didn't even say all of that in a mean way. She's probably adding on to the story and leaving shit out. But I'm pretty sure his main thing was like, look, I like fucking you. You're great. You one of the, out of all the bitches that I'm currently fucking with, you do it really good. I sometimes I like to bring you spots, but you got to lose the weight so I can put you to the number one spot. First of all, there's really nothing wrong with saying that. There's nothing wrong with saying that, because at least these things that he's telling you, you can change it. At least the things that he's telling you to improve on, you can change it. But it would require some discipline and accountability on your end. But that's a whole nother story. And so we'll skip that. So let me replay the story, because it seems like she was just a side chick. It seems like this was a dickmatized side chick. This is what it looks like to me. A dickmatized side chick to a chat to a Chad. And he probably wasn't I don't know if he was broken. I'd say this seems like a dickmatized side chick to a Chad, or just a side chick to a Chad she caught feelings for. Dickmatized or not. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna lean towards that. Let me see.
But you would be so much more attractive if you lost weight. So
this was a Chad. So I know this is a Chad. That was not a Pookie or a Tyrone. This was a Chad. Because Chads be having standards for their hoes. So I lost 50 pounds.
Lost 50 pounds, and he said, well, maybe if you lose like 20 more, then you'll be perfect. In private, he would say that we're a couple, but in public, he would just call me his buddy. Wouldn't kiss me, wouldn't hold my hand around his friends.
Yeah, so like I said, when it came to the world, it wasn't really, he was telling you, hey, be quiet about us. So you were complicit in that. I'm sorry, you were complicit in that. That is not his fault. At the end of the day, a woman is not a child. A woman is not. We keep acting like these women are children, and they are easily manipulated into doing this. But then they get to vote, and they get to drive, and they can do all these things. They can join OnlyFans, but they seem to always be getting manipulated, and somebody's using mind control on these people. But they get to vote. No. You know what you were doing. You stayed because you liked him, and you overlooked the red flags because you were attracted to the person. So you were willing to be his side chick and lose all the weight and all that because he was the best that he was as good as you were going to get, close to, even though you knew you were never going to qualify as his number one woman. This is the closest thing to greatness that you're ever going to get close to.
And when I would tell him that it bothered me, he would say stuff like, this is the reason why we're not actually dating. At one point we were long distance and he didn't have a car, so I had to drive to see him. He complained that I put in too much effort to come see him, but if it was a weekend he wanted me to come, he would beg me to drive up. He'd randomly say things like, well, if we're still together in the future and you get pregnant, how will you avoid gaining weight?
So, yeah, that sounds like a Chad. That sounds like a Chad. Oh man, but like I said, you still, but you stayed. I'm just look. I didn't see too many videos of bitches talking about. I left when I saw this. It'll be like a nigga will buy a bitch or a white dude. What like when I say ninja, it's race neutral really. But it'll be a man. Well, it will be a story of a man. He'll buy a bitch a makeup product set, right, or a toiletry set, right, for her bathroom or something, and then she'll be like, "That's a red flag. Already buying me gifts like this so early. He's love bombing me." And you're just like, "What?" Like you ask a bitch, "What's a red flag in a man?" And they'll tell you all these different shit. Like I'm like, dude, these 304s don't even know what the hell's going on out here. Like I said, women, like I said, they ignore red flags for the men that they are attracted to, and that's what men do the same thing for women that are attractive to them, but men don't get the credit for knowing that, okay, I know she's pretty, but I know I can't turn her into this. So I got to keep her there. So particularly when you're dealing with a man with options, he'll hear her talking and be like, oh, okay, I already know what I'm dealing with. Off rip.
He wanted to take a break to work on himself. We got back together a few weeks later and I found out he wanted to take.
Yeah. So it doesn't really seem like you guys were official. It just seems like you guys were very intimate fucking buddies and he didn't really want to let you go. He knew that you would just be there and you allowed yourself to be there.
The break to sleep with the girl he had a crush on. One time we were just talking and he told me point blank that if I exceeded a certain weight, he would break up with me on the spot. We would take pictures. He would tell me that I would laugh or smile too hard and that it was embarrassing. He moved. I drove in to visit.
Well, that's because you didn't lose the weight. And I don't know, like, I know people go say I'm evil for saying this, but you know, when you're like an actual like pretty girl and you're laughing, even if you have a weird laugh, people will forgive it because you're pretty and you're the ideal body type. But a hearty laugh, like that Santa Claus laugh that big girls be having, a lot of people, not just the Chads, a lot of people just don't want to see that in general. It's different when Oprah laughs. It's just different when Oprah laughs than a Tyler. No disrespect to Oprah. You know what I'm saying? It's just different. Like Tyler is very pretty. Livy Dunn, very pretty, right? But I'll say this: Tyler's South African accent to me kind of irritates me, low key. But she gets a pass because she's pretty. That's how it works. Unfortunately, you know what I mean. And a lot of it, like I said, one of the biggest attractions of Tyler is that she's very petite. She's in shape. She's skinny. She's not fat. So that's a big part. That's a real important part of it. It's not gonna work the same if she starts gaining weight. You know what I mean? So it's different. It's different, and I don't want people complaining about, oh, that's so shallow. I'm like, dude, women already eliminate most men out of the dating pool just off of height. Just off of height, they're already thinking something about you, or if they see your Johnson size, they're already looking at you a different way. These are things you can't control as a man. Most of the things that men like will ask women to do, it's like it's something that all women can attain. They just don't want to do it. They just don't want to do it.
And he told his new friends that a high school friend was visiting him for the weekend. Things my exes did, but I still stayed. He said, "Don't."
It sounds like you were a side chick, but like I don't. I mean, somebody's like, you want me to get him for you? Nah, guys. It's either women are adults or they're children. Like we gotta stop. We gotta stop doing this. We want me to get him for you, guys. She's an adult. She put herself in that situation, but she overlooked those red flags. It is not even really a red flag. You was being upfront and honest with you. Look, I like fucking with you, but I can't really put you out there because of the weight. And instead of leaving, you decided, fine, I'm gonna lose the weight. I'm gonna lose 70 pounds, right? 50 pounds. He said he wanted you to lose 20 more, and you went through with it. That's what you did. Instead of leaving and just doing better for yourself in your mind, you decided to stay with this guy. You willingly stayed with a quote unquote abusive, verbally abusive guy, but I don't really see him. Like in the story, I don't see the guy as a villain here. I don't really see him as a villain. Maybe it's just me, but I don't see him